Let me turn to Rafael Bernal. He's a staff writer with the Latino section of the Hill newspaper, which covers U.S. politics. Rafael, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Should President Trump even be going to Pittsburgh? It seems, certainly from Jim's piece, there's a mixed reaction here.
Well, people in Pittsburgh, many people in Pittsburgh, let's say, have not been happy with it. And the Anti-Defamation League has certainly linked Trump's rhetoric and behavior to some of the violence that we're seeing, even the bomb attempts against prominent Democrats. So it is fair to criticize and it's a fair question, really.
And you mentioned his tone and rhetoric. Really, in the aftermath of this attack, he certainly condemned the violence. He came out and really condemned it fairly strongly. Then he seemed to focus more on the media, attacking fake news media, which is what he calls it, and then also talking about the migrants and their so-called invasion. So, I mean, what is this all about? Is this because we're in a political season and midterm elections are next week and really rallying up his base here?
It's absolutely electoral with Trump. Trump has, I mean, this is his history. This is how he operates. When something negative like this happens, he does check the boxes of, you know, I have to say that this violent act was bad, that violent act was bad. But he's always on the campaign trail. That's the one thing that we've learned about Trump over the last 3 years, and that's not going to stop. With the immigrants, you almost have a 2-to-1 ratio of military personnel sent to the border than migrants who are expected to arrive, and they're not expected to arrive probably for a month.
What are the dangers here, Rafael, of his rhetoric? He's a very polarizing figure to begin with, President Trump. What are the implications for really free press in the United States when he constantly attacks the media as being after him, accusing the media of treating him unfairly and of reporting news that is not factually correct?
Well, there is the danger, of course, that some of his followers will misinterpret his. Well, some would say would just interpret, but it seems misinterpret if you take
and some would argue that has already happened with the mail bombings.
Exactly, and it can turn to actual violence, and of course that is never acceptable under almost any circumstances. And the other thing that can happen is you have certain media outlets that start giving him his side of the story, maybe for access, maybe because it bolsters ratings. It can eventually sort of corrupt the way that we follow stories. And that's one thing that, as reporters, we have to be very careful.
What does this country, in the aftermath of the 15 mail bombings, in the aftermath of the worst attack on Jews in this country, what does this country needs to hear from the commander-in-chief?
Well, I cannot tell you that as a reporter, but it certainly doesn't seem to be. It doesn't seem to include more attacks on the media or more attacks on political opponents. Previous U.S. presidents have usually used these events as a uniting force, and you can objectively say Trump has not been successful in doing the same in the aftermath of these events.
All right, we'll leave it there, Rafael. Thank you so much.
Thank you.